Amid the storm of millions of hot sauces that have come and gone, only Tabasco has managed to burn bright for over 150 years, leaving behind a flavor that forever reminds the world of America. How could something born from such tiny chili peppers grow into such a powerful global icon? That journey begins on Avery Island, a secluded place where every fiery red pepper is handpicked and sent to the factory. There, they undergo a series of remarkable transformations and rigorous inspections, eventually becoming the Tabasco bottles that ignite taste buds across the globe. Today, Agriculture Insight takes you behind the scenes to uncover the secret of this legendary sauce, where tradition, science, and heat unite to create a culinary symbol that never stops burning. Ready? Let's begin. Every year, over 250 million bottles of Tabasco leave a small island tucked away in the Louisiana swamps, crossing oceans to reach 195 countries, building a fiery empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It all began with Edmund McIlhenny, a food-loving plantation owner who came up with a deceptively simple recipe: crushed red peppers, Avery Island salt, pure vinegar, and thyme, aged in oak barrels. At first, he just wanted to rescue bland post-war meals, but in 1868, when the first bottles of Tabasco were released, America was stunned, because for the first time, people discovered the concept of hot sauce. And what's truly remarkable is that for more than a century and a half, that recipe has barely changed, a rarity in the entire history of cuisine. The real secret of Tabasco lies in its flavor. Unlike sriracha, known for its sweet garlic punch, or Cholula, with its smoky Mexican heat, Tabasco delivers a clean, tangy, salty spice, subtly infused with the aroma of aged oak barrels. That delicate balance is what allows Tabasco not just to survive, but to become the global standard of hot sauce itself. So, which kind of heat do you prefer? Sweet and garlicky, deep and smoky, or bright and tangy with an explosive kick? Let's begin where every drop of Tabasco is born. Avery Island, the legendary homeland of the first Tabasco peppers planted more than a century ago. The journey starts with tiny seeds. After each harvest, only the peppers that reach the perfect shade of McIlhenny red, evenly ripened and glossy, are chosen for seed collection. These seeds are sun-dried, carefully stored, and then planted in seed beds when spring arrives. Inside warm greenhouses, the seeds are gently watered each day, sprouting into strong, healthy seedlings. Once they're sturdy enough, they're transplanted into open fields, where the soil is kept evenly moist for optimal growth. Farmers tend, weed, and monitor soil moisture daily to ensure every plant meets the highest standards. From seed to field, every step remains handcrafted and passed down through generations. It's this care and precision that preserve Tabasco's signature fiery flavor. Born from one seed, one island, and a century-old tradition. From the tiny capsicum frutescens seeds sown in spring, it takes nearly 9 months of meticulous care before the Tabasco pepper plants bear clusters of fruit ready for harvest. By late summer in Louisiana, farmers on Avery Island enter the most crucial phase of the year. To ensure consistent quality, they rely on the color stick, a custom color gauge designed by McIlhenny to determine the exact moment of picking. Only peppers that reach the perfect shade of McIlhenny red, fully ripe and packed with the highest capsaicin content, are selected. At that point, harvesters simply twist the stem once, allowing the fruit to detach naturally without tearing the skin or releasing its spicy oils. This gentle technique preserves the enzymes and capsaicin oils, preventing early oxidation and maintaining the pure, vibrant flavor that will later define the fermentation process. In states like California, New Mexico, and Texas, vast chili fields stretching over thousands of hectares have been completely transformed by large-scale mechanized harvesting. Instead of dozens of workers bending over to pick each pepper by hand, now a single specialized harvesting machine can handle an entire field. This machine moves slowly between the rows, using low-frequency vibration sensors to gently shake loose only the ripe peppers without damaging the stems or leaves. The harvested peppers are then carried by soft conveyor belts into storage bins, while an integrated air blower system removes leaves and debris right on the machine. Thanks to this technology, one harvester can collect up to 18 to 23 tons of peppers, the equivalent output of 40 to 50 manual laborers, efficiently meeting the massive global demand for hot peppers. When the harvest season ends, the journey of the Tabasco pepper splits into two paths inside the factory. Most are destined to become the world-famous Tabasco sauce, while a smaller portion is dried and finely ground into vibrant red chili powder, a fiery ingredient used in barbecues and bold-flavored dishes around the globe. In the modern factory, the chili powder process begins with drying, a crucial stage that determines the final product's color, aroma, and heat level. Depending on the intended use, the peppers are processed in two different ways. With natural sun drying, workers spread the peppers evenly on mesh trays under the sun, turning them frequently for 5 to 15 days to ensure even dehydration. Though slow, this method imparts a distinct smoky aroma that's impossible to replicate. In contrast, industrial drying takes place in closed-loop hot air chambers where temperature and humidity are precisely controlled. This method dries the peppers many times faster than traditional sun drying while preserving their bright red color, original flavor, and consistent quality all year round. Once the peppers are crispy dry with moisture levels below 10%, the ideal point to prevent clumping during grinding, they are sent straight to the milling room. Here, high-speed stainless steel grinders, spinning at up to 5,000 revolutions per minute, transform the dried peppers into a fine, bright red powder. Depending on the desired product, the chili powder may then be blended with spices like cumin, garlic, onion, or paprika to create different heat levels and flavor profiles. From there, the finished product moves directly to the automated packaging line, where it's sealed in moisture-proof containers, ready to leave the Louisiana factory and begin its global journey, bringing with it a fiery burst of Tabasco flavor that can elevate any dish from home-cooked meals to gourmet cuisine. In another product line, the peppers aren't dried, preserving the raw heat of capsaicin. Instead, they embark on a long transformation journey that captures every layer of flavor, becoming the very soul of one of the world's most iconic hot sauces, Tabasco. Right after harvest, the fiery red peppers are rushed to a processing station located right beside the fields. There, they're crushed whole, skin, seeds, and all, in stainless steel grinders, forming a thick, vibrant red mixture known as the mash. Immediately afterward, pure Avery Island salt is sprinkled over the mash and mixed in by hand, all within 3 hours of picking. This precision ensures the peppers retain their full heat, fresh aroma, and natural color before entering the fermentation stage that will unlock their legendary flavor. Once back on the island, the mash enters Tabasco's most sacred ritual of maturation. Each batch is pumped through massive steel pipes into towering oak barrels, the very same kind once used to age whiskey. You might wonder, why oak? Because other materials merely contain the mash, but oak nurtures it, infusing every drop of sauce with a deep, complex character that can't be replicated. Before reuse, every barrel is scraped clean of old whiskey residue, dried, and then sealed with a thick layer of salt. This protects the mash from unwanted microbes while still allowing it to breathe and ferment slowly. From that moment, a silent 3-year journey begins. the sharp heat mellows, merging with gentle acidity and a hint of smokiness, creating the signature depth no other hot sauce can match. Each day, around 100 fresh barrels are filled and added to the aging warehouse. Over time, they form a sea of oak barrels, more than 55,000 in total, each holding enough mash for 10,000 bottles of Tabasco. That means, before a single drop reaches your plate, hundreds of millions of bottles have patiently slept in darkness for years, all to achieve that perfect, refined heat. When the aging phase finally ends, workers carefully unseal each oak barrel. Inside, the mash has thickened to a texture reminiscent of miso, its saltiness and heat now perfectly intertwined. But opening the barrel is only the beginning of the most demanding test. At this stage, expert tasters step in to judge the result, a task not for the faint of heart. With just a single taste, they can determine whether a batch meets the strict Tabasco standard. One barrel that fails could undo the effort of thousands of days of patient waiting. However, even a single impurity could undo years of effort. That's why, immediately after aging, each batch is rushed to the laboratory, where every critical parameter is meticulously tested. The salt level must be precise, the pH perfectly stable, the acidity naturally balanced, and the heat powerfully alive. Only when all standards are met does the mash proceed to the final filtration stage, where every seed, pulp, and particle is removed until nothing but pure essence remains. What's left is a smooth, fiery red concentrate, the true soul of Tabasco, refined and worthy of its legendary name. But if the mash passes inspection, it moves on to the blending stage, where the final and most crucial ingredient of Tabasco's legendary formula is introduced: American distilled grain vinegar. This vinegar is pure, neutral in aroma, and carries only a bright acidity that elevates the heat rather than dulling it. For over a century, the golden ratio of 70% vinegar to 30% mash has remained untouched, the unwavering heart of the recipe. Each batch is slowly stirred for weeks, allowing the heat, salt, and acidity to meld into a perfectly balanced harmony. And did you know? Many hot sauces undergo an aging process, but few are as patient as Tabasco, which ferments for a full 3 years before blending. That long wait, combined with the final infusion of distilled vinegar, is what gives Tabasco its unmistakable depth and brilliance. After years of patient fermentation, the fiery essence of Tabasco finally takes on its iconic form. Inside the factory, the fully automated bottling line moves with the precision of a symphony of steel. Jets of sauce are pumped into each glass bottle with near zero margin of error, while sensors at the neck ensure every drop meets the exact volume required. Moments later, the signature red caps are tightly sealed, the diamond-shaped labels perfectly aligned, and rows of Tabasco bottles stand proudly, a blazing army ready for the world. In the final stage, robotic arms group them into packs, seal the boxes, and stack them neatly onto pallets bound for global destinations. During peak season, the final 3 months of the year, this line runs 24 hours a day, producing up to 40 million bottles, each one a perfect fusion of technology, tradition, and timeless flavor. You might think hot sauce only pairs well with savory dishes or something crispy. But try a Bloody Mary, and you'll think again. Cool tomato juice, bold vodka, and a few drops of fiery red Tabasco blend into a flavor that's tangy, salty, and spicy all at once, igniting your taste buds, warming your throat, and leaving a lingering kick that wakes up every sense. But the most surprising creation of all is Tabasco ice cream. The creamy sweetness of milk and sugar seems harmless until a few drops of hot sauce set it ablaze. Cold at the tip of your tongue yet burning down your throat, it's a perfect harmony of opposites. That's Tabasco, not just a hot sauce, but a legend aged through time, fueled by passion and exploding in every fiery drop shared across tables around the world. Pringles was born as a revolution, a bold attempt to end the long-standing frustrations of traditional potato chips, too oily, too fragile, and bags full of air. Behind this daring idea was Frederick Bauer, a food scientist and chemist at Procter & Gamble, who transformed potatoes, and snacking itself, into a symbol of engineering precision. With over $3 billion in annual revenue, Pringles has become one of the most powerful snack brands in the world. The United States alone accounts for more than $1 billion in sales, making it the brand's largest market. Today, the iconic cans, featuring the mustached gentleman, are found in over 150 countries, each tailored with flavors refined to match local tastes and cultures. The most remarkable feature lies in its hyperbolic, paraboloid shape, mathematically designed for the perfect curve, allowing each chip to fit snugly in its can, evenly distribute pressure, and maintain flawless crispness. Containing only 42% potato, the rest made for rice and wheat flour, every chip is molded with millimeter precision. In a world ruled by spontaneity, by Lay's and Doritos, Pringles chose the path of calculated precision. So if you could only choose one chip, would you pick spontaneity or perfection? And now, let's travel to Idaho, where the cool climate and elevation of over 1,200 meters and the loose, fertile alluvial soil from the Rocky Mountains have created some of the most ideal conditions on Earth for growing potatoes. As Idaho enters early autumn, massive potato diggers begin to roll across the endless potato fields stretching to the horizon. At the front of each machine lies a dual-blade digging system with automatic depth control, guided by underground sensors. As the machine moves forward, the steel blades cut about 20 centimeters deep into the soil, gently lifting entire rows of potatoes to the surface. Immediately after, the vibrating screen mechanism kicks in, generating thousands of subtle tremors that separate soil, roots, and pebbles without scratching the delicate skins. Each row of freshly unearthed potatoes is then laid neatly on the field, ready for the next stage of collection. Behind them, specialized potato harvesters follow in formation. At the front, hydraulic lifting arms gently gather each row of potatoes, feeding them onto a vibrating conveyor that shakes off any remaining soil. Next, a 180-degree rotating belt transfers the clean potatoes into parallel transport trucks, each capable of carrying up to 25 tons. On average, a single harvester can process 500 to 600 tons of potatoes per day, equal to the work of more than 300 manual laborers. Inside the cabin, the operator oversees the entire process through a central touchscreen display, where data such as speed, vibration, soil moisture, and temperature are updated in real time. Each potato here is the result of months of meticulous care. Planted in April, watered by pure snowmelt from the Rocky Mountains, and bathed in long hours of sunlight unique to this high-altitude plateau. By the time autumn arrives, the tubers have accumulated nearly 20% dry starch content, giving them a firm texture, sweet and nutty flavor, and the remarkable ability to stay fresh for months after leaving the field. The freshly harvested potatoes then move onto the pre-sorting line. On the conveyor belt, each tuber is carefully inspected, and any that are too small, misshapen, or damaged are removed. From here, the selected potatoes are transported into massive cold storage facilities. Inside, the the temperature is maintained between 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, with a relative humidity of around 90 to 95%, the ideal range for long-term storage. If the humidity drops too low, the potatoes begin to lose moisture, their skins wrinkle, and the flesh becomes soft, reducing starch quality and natural sweetness. Under these controlled conditions, the potatoes stay firm, retain their starch structure, and resist sprouting for many months after harvest. When truckloads of potatoes arrive at the factory, all the raw ingredients are unloaded into a recirculating whirlpool washing system. Inside, high-pressure water jets combined with continuously moving chain conveyors create a powerful swirling current that makes the potatoes gently tumble against each other, washing away mud, small stones, and other impurities clinging to their surfaces. A standard industrial wash tank in a potato processing plant like Pringles can hold up to 40,000 liters of water, allowing it to clean between 20 and 25 tons of potatoes per hour. After the first rinse, the stream of potatoes passes through several recirculating wash tanks, ensuring all soil and debris are completely removed. In the final stage, the potatoes enter a rotary drum washer, a stainless steel cylinder nearly 5 meters long. Inside, the drum rotates slowly at about 10 to 20 revolutions per minute, while hundreds of high-pressure water jets spray from every direction. As the potatoes tumble and gently rub against one another, any remaining fine dirt or residue trapped in the eyes is washed away. By the time they exit the drum, the potatoes are virtually spotless, their skins smooth and clean, ready for the next stage of processing. After washing, the potatoes move through an automated scanning and sorting system. Here, optical sensors and high-resolution cameras scan each potato, taking less than a millisecond to analyze its size, color, and surface integrity. Potatoes that are too small, cracked, bruised, or discolored are gently removed from the conveyor by air jet ejectors, separated for use as secondary material. Only those meeting precise standards of size, weight, and surface quality continue forward, ready for the peeling, cutting, and processing stages ahead. At this stage, the process enters a critical turning point. Inside the abrasive drum peeler, whose inner surface is lined with sandpaper-like material, the outer skin of each potato is completely removed after just a few gentle rotations. Within 1 hour, 10 tons of potatoes are transformed, leaving behind only the smooth golden flesh, ready to continue its journey. The potatoes are briefly blanched in hot water, causing their flesh to soften for smoother slicing. Inside a high-speed cutting chamber spinning at 1,200 revolutions per minute, razor-sharp blades slice the potatoes into thin pieces, then chop them into small uniform cubes. From there, the pieces move along a vibrating conveyor where an automated optical scanner inspects every fragment, and with just a tiny flaw or dark spot detected, a precise jet of compressed air instantly removes it from the line. From the cutting conveyor, the qualified potato blocks are immediately fed into a pressurized steam chamber, where saturated steam begins to define their future crispiness. Under high temperature, the starch inside the potatoes fully gelatinizes, allowing the core to cook evenly, while the outer layer becomes smooth and elastic, perfectly prepared for shaping. Immediately after cooking, the softened potatoes fall into a massive industrial mixer, where they are mashed into a smooth paste and thoroughly filtered to remove any fibrous residue. The fine mash is then spread over large rotating drying drums, where steam rapidly evaporates beneath the heated surface, transforming the mixture into thin, flexible sheets. As they peel off the drum, these sheets crisp and crack, breaking into dry flakes that are later milled into fine potato powder. This is the defining moment that gives Pringles its unmistakable identity. Inside a huge industrial mixer, the dehydrated potato flakes are blended with water, cornstarch, rice flour, wheat starch, degermed corn flour, maltodextrin, emulsifiers, and a precisely measured amount of salt. The result is a pale yellow, semi-moist dough, soft, elastic, and with a texture similar to wet sand, unlike the dry, crumbly mash used for regular sliced potato chips. From here, the potato dough moves onto a continuous rolling conveyor, whereas massive steel roller compresses the warm, smooth mixture into an ultra-thin sheet, just about 1 millimeter thick, soft, elastic, and perfectly uniform, like an endless carpet of starch. Under carefully controlled pressure and temperature, the starch molecules bond tightly together, forming a stable, cohesive structure, ready for shaping. The dough sheet then passes through a rotary cutter, continuously stamping out neat oval shapes, affectionately nicknamed dovals by the factory workers. Any excess dough left between the cuts is immediately vacuumed back into the system to be recycled for the next batch. Frying is the most crucial stage for any snack brand. For Pringles, the edges of each slice are fixed while the center gently puffs up when it meets the hot oil, forming the iconic double-curved shape. This design not only prevents the chips from breaking when stacked, but also creates the signature saddle curve that no other chip in the world can replicate. And after all the transformations, this is the moment when Pringles finally receives its soul, the seasoning. Just 11 seconds after frying, each crisp is blasted with hot air to remove excess oil. On the conveyor belt, thousands of chips pass through a flavoring chamber, where a fine mist of seasoning powder coats every surface evenly and firmly. Each day, the factory uses around 2.7 tons of seasoning, producing more than 160 distinct flavors. From Japan's spicy wasabi, Mexico's fiery chili lime, to America's rich cheddar cheese, every Pringles chip becomes a tiny vessel of culture, carrying the taste of different corners of the world. And the most fun way to explore them? Stack multiple flavors together and take one big bite, because with every crisp snap, you might discover a combination you never imagined before. At the end of the production line, the perfectly curved Pringles slices stack themselves in flawless order on the conveyor belt, like a disciplined army falling into formation. The mechanical system then compresses them into a straight column, wraps them in a protective film, seals the metal bottom, and caps the plastic lid on top. Immediately after, the finished cans continue their march into cardboard boxes, typically 12 to 24 cans per case. Before leaving the production line, quality experts conduct blind taste tests under red lighting to evaluate crispiness, flavor, and seasoning balance. Only the perfect batches are sealed, packed into cartons, and loaded onto trucks, ready to join parties, picnics, and joyful moments shared by billions of snack lovers around the world. Few people know that ice cream was once a luxurious privilege reserved only for the elite. In ancient Rome, Emperor Nero sent his servants up the mountains to gather snow, mixing it with honey and fruit to create one of the very first frozen desserts. It wasn't until centuries later, with the advent of refrigeration technology, that this once royal indulgence slowly melted into everyday life, becoming a sweet symbol embraced by all classes. From a gift for nobles, ice cream has continually evolved into a colorful culinary universe, quirky, unique, and full of surprises. And if you ever find yourself in Turkey, don't miss dondurma, perhaps the sweetest trick of your life. Here, the vendor is not just a seller, but a street performer, teasing, spinning, pulling, and hiding the ice cream right before your eyes like a magician. Every cone of dondurma is a playful twist, cold, mischievous and unforgettable. But behind the melting sweetness lies the resigned shake of a fitness trainer's head. A single scoop of ice cream, seemingly harmless, can contain up to 250 calories, the equivalent of an hour of intense weightlifting. That little joy, if left unchecked, can quietly wipe out an entire week of strict dieting. In modern production, the mold is first filled with a thin layer of the mixture, and only then is the stick inserted into its precise position. Robotic arms carry out this step with millimeter accuracy, ensuring that as the ice cream solidifies, the stick becomes a flawless bridge between frozen delight and the human hand. Inside the ice cream factory, often likened to a wonderland for millions of children, the molding process is the very moment when sweet liquid milk takes on the form of cool, frozen delights. On gleaming steel conveyors, hundreds of metal molds stand neatly aligned, each engineered with millimeter precision to create irresistible shapes, from the classic slender bar to the elegant rounded design. Automated nozzles work in perfect synchrony, pumping the ice cream mixture into each mold with precise speed and pressure, ensuring every bar is smooth in texture and free of air bubbles. Advanced technology instantly lowers the mold temperature to deep negatives as the mixture is poured, allowing the ice cream to take shape almost instantly. A single production line can fill up to 20,000 molds per hour, a number impressive enough to astonish anyone. After being chilled, the mixture is ready to begin its journey of becoming a finished ice cream. And when it comes to ice cream bars, beyond the cool cream melting on the tongue, there is a silent character that completes the experience: the small wooden stick. It may seem like it's only there to hold, yet sometimes it carries a faint aroma of wood, and many people find themselves absent-mindedly licking the stick, even after the ice cream is gone, savoring the last trace of sweetness. These wooden sticks come in many forms: short, long, round, flat, and are often recycled, ready to begin a new life cycle. Once the ice cream mixture has completely solidified inside the molds, a sophisticated mechanical system gently lifts each bar, releasing it from the icy metal surface without a single flaw. Immediately afterward, these frozen creations are guided through dipping baths or spray nozzles, coating them with layers of melted chocolate, crunchy almonds, or cookie crumbs. The coating process happens swiftly yet with precision, ensuring every bar is evenly covered, glossy, and perfect. It is this harmony between the cool, creamy core and the sweet outer shell that creates an irresistible treat loved by millions. For modern ice creams that aren't on a stick, the journey doesn't begin with cold wooden molds, but with cups, tubs, or pastry molds moving along the conveyor. Each empty container is placed precisely in its designated spot, ready for filling. Multi-nozzle pumps then work in perfect rhythm, pouring smooth layers of ice cream into each cup. Sometimes a single flavor, sometimes 2 or 3 swirled together, as visually striking as a piece of art. Immediately afterward, toppings like strawberry sauce, cookie crumbs, or melted chocolate are added before the lids are sealed automatically. As for the ice cream cone, the timeless symbol of childhood, shape takes priority above all. Golden, crisp cones are locked into place, their flared openings invitingly waiting to be filled. The filling machine must spiral the ice cream evenly, from center to edge, to create a flawless swirl, no breaks, no tilts. A precise jet of sauce is added at the peak, sometimes crowned with a peanut, a chocolate piece, or crunchy toppings, forming the crown of the cone. Every detail, from texture to aesthetics, is meticulously calculated to ensure that when it reaches the consumer, Each cone is nothing less than a perfect experience. Every type of ice cream, from the classic stick bar and crunchy cone to tubs and ice cream sandwiches, has its own packaging mold and dedicated production line. Pre-printed plastic film, carrying all product information, is rolled into strips and wrapped around the ice cream at speeds of hundreds of units per minute, then heat-sealed to ensure absolute sterility. This process strictly follows international food safety standards, protecting freshness and flavor while preparing each product for its journey to millions of ice cream lovers around the world. Immediately afterward, the products are transferred into deep freeze storage rooms, kept at a stable temperature of around -25 degrees. In this environment, the ice cream maintains its structure, flavor, and shelf life until it leaves the factory, continuing its journey to supermarkets, stores, and ultimately into the hands of eager consumers. Country music, apple pie, and Budweiser beer. Few things scream America louder than the red, white, and blue label on a Bud can. Yet, the man who created this all-American icon was in fact a German immigrant. The story begins in the 1850s, when waves of Germans poured into the United States, transforming St. Louis, Missouri into one of the liveliest little Germanys in the country. For Germans, beer was never just a refreshing drink, it was a piece of cultural soul, especially the cold fermented lager, golden, clear, balanced, and easy to drink. By contrast, most beer in America at the time was ale, brewed warm, darker, heavier, and far stronger in taste. Amid this backdrop, a young German immigrant named Adolphus Busch entered the brewing trade after marrying Lily Anheuser, daughter of a small brewery owner. On a European journey in the 1870s, Busch stopped in the town of Budweis, now in the Czech Republic, and was instantly captivated by its sparkling golden lager, so crisp and refreshing. Returning to America, he resolved to recreate it, but with a clever twist to suit American palates, blending enzyme-rich 6-row barley with rice, producing the light, crisp, and clean taste that defined Budweiser. More than a century later, that recipe remains the beating heart of Budweiser, winning the loyalty of lager lovers worldwide every year. Those golden cans generate nearly $15 billion in revenue, cementing Budweiser's place among the best-selling beers on earth. And like every great story, this one has a beginning. For Budweiser, the legendary journey also starts at the source, in the hop fields, where one of beer's most precious ingredients is harvested at the perfect golden moment to capture its aroma and oils, becoming the soul of every world-class Budweiser brew. Every year from August to September, as the crisp autumn winds begin to sweep in, the vast hop fields of the Yakima Valley in Washington burst into a bustling harvest season. This is the golden moment for picking hops, when the cones have reached peak ripeness, packed with essential oils and lupulin, the very compounds that define beer's signature flavor and aroma. At some smaller farms, growers still preserve traditional harvesting methods. The hop bines are cut by hand with sharp knives, assisted by mechanical lifts. These lifts allow workers to reach the towering trellises where hop vines can climb up to 6 meters high. Once cut, the bines are either dropped onto waiting trucks below or hauled down manually before being transported to the processing facility. Meanwhile, on large-scale farms, the harvest has been fully mechanized. Automatic bine-cutting machines equipped with sharp blades can process hundreds of hop bines in just a few minutes. As the machines move along the hop rows, their cutting arms slice through both the tops and bases of the vines, causing the entire vine to drop onto a conveyor belt or into waiting trucks below. These modern machines are capable of harvesting between 48,000 and 108,000 pounds of hop plants per hour. Thanks to this technology, the hop harvest takes place at remarkable speed, ensuring the crop remains as fresh as possible. After leaving the vast fields, hops are immediately transported to the processing facilities. But before they can become the key ingredient in brewing flavorful beer, they must undergo a meticulous and carefully managed preparation journey. When the trucks loaded with hop vines arrive at the facility, the processing officially begins. The long vines, still covered in cones, are lifted onto automated conveyor systems or mechanical cranes, ready for the separation stage. To accomplish this quickly and efficiently, the plant employs massive machines known as hop picking machines, advanced mechanical systems made up of rotating brushes, rollers, and vibrating conveyors. As the vines move through, mechanical arms hold the stems firmly in place, while the brushes sweep across them, gently stripping the hop cones and allowing them to fall below. Immediately after separation, the freshly picked cones are carried onto vibrating conveyors, where high-powered fans blow away loose leaves, small stems, and other lightweight debris. To ensure that only intact hop cones remain, a final screening system provides one more round of filtration before the hops move on to the next stage. Meanwhile, the stripped vines are taken outside to be recycled into fertilizer or livestock feed, a way to make full use of natural resources and minimize waste. After the cleaning process is complete, the hops move into multi-layer kilns to begin the crucial drying stage. Fresh hops contain as much as 75 to 80% moisture, and if not processed immediately, they quickly lose their quality. Inside the kiln, the hops are spread out in a layer about 24 to 36 inches thick on drying screens, while large fans blow hot air at 130 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit through each tier. This process lasts for 8 to 12 hours, with temperature and humidity carefully monitored to ensure the essential oils and natural aromas of the hops are preserved. By the end, the hops are reduced to just 8 to 10% moisture, the ideal level for long-term storage while maintaining peak quality. As soon as they leave the kiln, the hops are still warm and require a final cleaning. While traveling along the conveyor belts, high-powered fans blow away any remaining impurities. Afterward, the dried cones are transferred into cooling rooms kept at 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, where they are stored for several hours to a few days to stabilize their moisture content before packaging. Finally, the dried hop cones are gently moved by loaders into a specialized pressing system. Here, they are tightly compressed into large square bales to save space and maintain stability during transport. These bales are then packed into sacks, weighing between 20 and 100 kilograms, depending on the requirements of processing plants or customers. In addition to being packaged as whole cone hops, a large portion is further processed for pellet production. After being ground into smaller pieces, the hops pass through pelletizing machines, where high pressure compresses them into small, uniformly sized pellets. This process preserves the essential oils and aromas while significantly reducing volume, making storage and transportation far more efficient. Once the packaging step is complete, The hops are transferred to cold storage kept at 32 to 41 degrees Fahrenheit, preserving their freshness and signature aroma. From there, they continue their journey to the brewery, where they are combined with malt, the core ingredient that defines beer's flavor. Inside massive brewing systems, every stage is carried out with near-perfect precision, transforming hops and malt into a drink that has captivated millions. And now, let's move on to the most anticipated part of the journey, uncovering how a Budweiser beer is finally made. As soon as the barley arrives at the brewery, each batch undergoes strict inspection and preliminary cleaning to remove dust and other impurities. Grains that meet the standards then enter the steeping stage, inside massive conical tanks, submerged in cool water and continuously aerated to awaken the life within. The steeping process follows a cycle of soaking, draining, and resting, lasting about 2 days. By the end, the barley reaches an ideal moisture level of 42 to 46%, the threshold that triggers perfect germination. After being steeped in water to absorb sufficient moisture, the barley is transferred to vast germination rooms, where it is spread in an even, thick layer across the floor. Over the course of 4 to 6 days, the grains begin to sprout. Endogenous enzymes are activated, breaking down the endosperm structure and converting starches into simpler, fermentable sugars in preparation for the upcoming mashing stage. When the sprouts reach the desired stage of development, growth is halted by drying in industrial kilns, reducing the moisture content to just 3 to 5%. Budweiser employs a special low-temperature kilning process that preserves the vital enzymatic activity and maintains the pale, almost transparent golden color, the foundation of the American lager style. The malt is then gently milled to break the husk and release the starchy endosperm, while keeping the husk intact to serve as a natural filter for the next stage. The milled malt is combined with gelatinized rice, a signature ingredient that sets Budweiser apart. Inside the mash tun, the mixture is gradually heated in specific stages to activate different enzymes. Beta amylase produces a high level of easily fermentable maltose, while alpha amylase generates dextrins, contributing to a subtle sweetness and a smooth, rounded body in the beer. Once the clear wort is collected, it is boiled with hops for 60 to 90 minutes. Hops are added in stages. Early additions extract a stable bitterness, while later additions preserve delicate aromas. This boiling process also sterilizes the wort and defines the balanced flavor, blending the gentle sweetness of malt and rice with the crisp bitterness of hops. After rapid cooling, the wort is pumped into massive fermentation tanks, where Budweiser's signature lager yeast converts the sugars into ethanol and CO2 over the course of 7 days. The young beer is then cold-aged for several weeks at temperatures close to 0 degrees Celsius, allowing the flavor to mature into the rounded, pure, and balanced profile that defines the king of beers. Before we step into the modern packaging line, where millions of Budweiser bottles are completed every day, let's take a look at the surprising journey of those glass bottles. In fact, it all begins with pure quartz sand, melted at over 1500 degrees Celsius, together with limestone and soda ash to form molten glass. This mixture is then automatically blown and molded into bottles with uniform size and strength. Thanks to strict quality control, each bottle can withstand the internal CO2 pressure while preserving the beer's flavor intact until it reaches the consumer. At last, the beer is filled into glass bottles, aluminum cans, or kegs using an isobaric filling system. ensuring that the dissolved CO2 is perfectly preserved. Once sealed with caps or lids, the products move on to labeling, boxing, and shipment to distribution centers. From there, Budweiser's crisp and refreshing flavor reaches consumers across the globe, completing the meticulous journey that transforms humble barley and rice grains into the king of beers.